All right, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for these three gentlemen here. Blew your minds on cryptocurrency. I don't know, but I think they were pretty interesting. Our next guest is also quite interesting, and he's going to talk a little bit about how, through his journey of being kind of a independent journalist, he used cryptocurrencies and other things to kind of empower himself and reach millions of people. So I want to invite up to the stage Derrick Broze. I don't know, where did he go? He was just here. Oh, there he is. Sure. You actually, no, you'll have to come back. Yeah. You can just say, you can just say.
Hello, everybody. Whoa, that is loud. Thank you guys who are hanging out here. This has been an interesting couple hours. Those who are interested in cryptocurrency and blockchain, as they just said, I'm an independent freelance investigative journalist, and I've been getting paid with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and tons of others for the last 5 years. And I haven't filed taxes in 8 years, and I've lived a decentralized lifestyle through the power of crypto and other tools as well that I'm going to cover today. I'm going to mention a few different tools that I think everybody who hears this will find value in them. If you're interested in decentralizing, if you're interested in actually getting power back in your hands in every area of your life, not just the economics, but also social media, there are plenty of tools that are being built on top of blockchain technology, which Bitcoin and other cryptos are based on, which can provide value and can allow each of us to actually start becoming entrepreneurs and being more independent, not dependent on centralized systems. So last year I did a 48-city, 9-week tour of the United States, and it was called the Decentralize Your Life Tour, and I'm going to share some of the ideas with you guys. It's centered around, when I say decentralize, I'm talking about opting out from the centralized food production systems, localizing food production, talking about decentralizing our education, using the power of the technology that we have today, the internet, and the decentralized nature of it, to use websites like edx.org, where you can learn college-level university classes for free, no reason to go into debt. Just looking at every single area of your life and asking how you can unplug and opt out of these centralized systems. And obviously currency is a big part of that. I didn't go to school for journalism. I never really had a plan to be a journalist and travel and cover important stories and speak at places like this. I just started out as an activist and moved my way into that. And over the years, people started saying, hey, I see you out there writing, I can pay you to do that. And so I started to get a little bit of extra money on the side being paid as a journalist. And then eventually, someone I worked with by the name of Ben Swan was also very much paying attention to cryptocurrency, as I was in 2012 and 2013, and started to get paid in crypto, specifically Bitcoin at that time. Now I'm pretty diversified. And at the time, I was just trying to survive, so I would just get paid in Bitcoin and immediately cash out, you know, for US dollars, Federal Reserve notes, as they're really known. But now I've been able to fund my travels and live the lifestyle that I want and spread the message that I care about and live by my principles by using these decentralized tools. And my goal is to help give you guys some of these answers, because I've been spending my time in the media room trying to encourage all the other journalists, and if there's any other media out here, please do listen as well, because these tools apply to you, because we need to get away from these centralized systems, specifically the dead stream corporate media, as I like to refer to them, because what they spew is dead, it's dying, it's garbage, it's not anything that's going to bring value. So we've learned with the internet, with live streaming, with just all the different social media tools, anybody can pick up a camera, they can pick up a tripod or a GoPro or anything and go out there and become a journalist. You know, despite the elite nature of some journalists, anybody can be a journalist. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. It's literally going out there, witnessing something, writing it down, turning it into an article, or videotaping it, creating a channel, and going out and doing that. And in the last 8 years, 10 years really, we've seen this huge, massive growth of it. I'm not sure if you guys recognize how much our world has changed just in the last decade. I mean, YouTube, 2008, Facebook, like these things are still only a decade old now, and we're seeing how much they've changed our world. So many of the people I write for the Anti-Media, the Mind Unleashed, Activist Post, Mint Press News, and a lot of other big Facebook pages turned legitimate websites, where now we have a whole crew of journalists, we have editors, and you know, we're all just like, some of us went the school route, others of us just learned on the street like I did. And I've been blessed enough to go cover situations like Standing Rock several times. I had the pleasure of being tased by the Morton County Sheriff's Police Department once or twice, 5 times. And I also was able to cover important stories related to cryptocurrency. Has anybody here heard of Ross Ulbricht? Yeah. Has anybody here ever bought drugs off the Silk Road or similar website? I know there's more hands than that, but I'll let you keep them down. But Ross Ulbricht is a young man. He's the same age as me, 33, born in 1984. Brilliant mind, who created a website known as the Silk Road that some of you may have heard, which allowed free people to come together and buy whatever they wanted, including illegal, illicit drugs, using cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and other cryptos. The government set up a huge sting, went after him, pretty much pinned it on him. There's really no evidence that it was him. They infiltrated the whole thing. He's now serving 3 life sentences. He never sold a single drug himself. He literally just built a website that allowed free people to do what they want. And I was at that trial for a week and a half of exhausting, long, just, legalese talk between the lawyers and the judge. And when the judge was when she was sitting in front of the U.S. flag, when she was getting ready to sentence Ross to 3 life sentences, this brilliant mind who can just, if he was out here, he would be here speaking some powerful ideas to us. Look up freeross.org. She said, I am humbled by this opportunity that I am tasked with making sure that no one will ever do what you did, create a website that allows free people to come together. And she said, the philosophy you believe in is dangerous. I must make sure that no one will dare ever take up your flag again. 3 life sentences, just like a kick to the gut. His mom's still out there fighting, they're trying to take it to the Supreme Court because there's so much BS on that. But my point with that is, what Ross believed in and the philosophy that I promote is agorism or counter-economics, and it really plays into the whole crypto space. I don't know the name of my brother here that was saying he's a crypto anarchist. Like, that's where I'm at. The dude right over here, thank you for mentioning crypto anarchy. We don't need to regulate cryptocurrency. We need to the whole point is to be disruptive, is to disrupt the economic system that has been enslaving us in the United States for 100 years through the Federal Reserve System. But it doesn't matter where you're coming from. You have a central bank. You have these institutions that use fiat currency, fractional reserve banking, central banking, in order to control us economically. And basically each of us are paying the debts that is going to banks, these banks that own the central banks of all the nations. So cryptocurrency allows an opportunity for individuals to do business outside of that. As I said, like I use cryptocurrency to buy flights using cheapair.com. I'm going to mention a bunch of different websites. I'm not being paid by anybody. These are tools I use in my everyday life because I believe in them. So I buy my flights or rent my hotels or rent cars using Bitcoin, and I believe it'll change and there'll be other cryptos that will be accepted as well. It's still a very growing ecosystem. But the judge said that because they are terrified that we will recognize there are tools available to us right now in this moment to start working outside of their system. They're perfectly fine. I was just part of a panel over there. We're talking about politics and permaculture, and I consider myself to be an apolitical activist. I spoke last night and I came out of the closet as a holistic anarchist. I believe that we are all free, beautiful, powerful people capable of ruling our own lives. We don't need authoritarians over us telling us how to live our lives. And there are some interesting implications that we can talk about later, but what that really means is that we don't need them to tell us where we can spend our money, how we can spend our money. There doesn't need to be a third party taking anything out of it. If me and you come together and say you have a product and I want to exchange that with you, and whether we use colones or dollars or crypto or whatever, there's no reason any other third party should have an involvement in that. Crypto allows that, and of course it's still a growing ecosystem. I typically speak at anarchist conferences and transformational festivals, and I just came from Acapulco last week in Acapulco, Mexico, which is like a very interesting mix of spiritual types, anarchists, and crypto geeks and crypto anarchists. And these worlds are coming together now. These tools are starting to meld into one world. It's very beautiful to see because they can be valuable. So the goal of crypto, I think the original intention and what many people are doing outside of Bitcoin is just the most well-known name, but there's others that are doing it much better, quicker, no transaction fees, faster, more secure, more encrypted. It's a very big ecosystem. People refer to this as the 90s when the internet first came out, and you've got all these different companies starting up, and some of them are going to last and be maybe the next big thing. Others may be scams. Others will sort of fade away. But I mean, every other day I'm reading about some new project somebody's creating that will create independence in our lives and allow us to opt out of these centralized systems. And of course, governments and people in power, authoritarians, will always try to co-opt systems and keep it under their control. So I'm sure in the next year or so we're going to see the Fed coin or the Facebook coin or whatever. They're going to try to take the concept but just redirect you back into their system, right? The whole thing, I believe, the reason I'm in it is to opt out of that. Yes, there's also the opportunity to make gains. I have and my friend circle and other people I know, activists as well, have been able to elevate our living standard just in the last year or so. And You know, I've been able to donate to different charities in my community and pay for my travel and support other people, support my family because of crypto. So there is an opportunity for gains, but for me it's more about having an opportunity to exchange goods and get paid for my services as a journalist without Uncle Sam taking any, or anybody taking any of it. I don't file taxes. I don't plan to file. I had to fill out a W-9 for this thing, but I'm not filling out on my side. And that's just the road that I choose to take. As what the other guy also said, there are risks to this. So we're in different situations. I'm 33 years old, no kids, and not married. I have the freedom to commit myself to this lifestyle and to dedicate my time to it. Now, as a journalist, I do write about cryptocurrency. I promote the tools whenever I see an opportunity, but my main focus is really indigenous issues, surveillance issues, technology, things of that sort. So I see how the government is coming after this new technology, how they would like to limit it. They would like to also, I mean, you can look up, just Google, or actually don't use Google, use DuckDuckGo. It's a decentralized alternative search engine that doesn't track you. It doesn't sound as fun as Google it, but DuckDuckGo it, and they don't save your search history. It's a much better company. Check that out. But just go ahead and DuckDuckGo Bitcoin, right? And every day there's Bitcoin's crashing. It's North Korea is using Bitcoin to fund terrorism, or ISIS is using Bitcoin. They want you to be afraid of it. They want you to not consider this option. They want the average person to see that and go, oh wow, I don't want to touch that. There's going to come a time and a place when we might have to take certain risks. We might have to say, you know what, they're telling me not to do this, and plenty of wiser people than I have said that good people disobey unjust, bad laws, and don't let the government or the laws be the arbiter of what is good and just, because that's led us down some really bad roads in the past. I actually didn't even know I was supposed to speak today till about half an hour, so this is just off the top of my head, but I think I'm supposed to talk about media, and what I'm getting at here is, as a journalist, I've been able to provide this lifestyle for myself, and I do believe that there are opportunities for other people. I've been doing this for 8 years, so it's taken a while to get to this point. When I fully committed myself to this, I was blessed enough to have some friends who were like, we believe in you, come stay at our house. And it was a broke 2 years of surviving and trying to figure things out, and the opportunities started to come, and crypto was a big part of that. Now, a couple other tools, and this is where you can get out your phones or your notepads, that I've been using more recently that are based on the blockchain technology. And I'm assuming that since you guys have been sitting here, blockchain has already been explained thoroughly, probably several times. I don't need to go over that, right? If not, we can have that conversation later. But blockchain is basically, you know, the sort of the underpinning technology. Cryptocurrency is really just one facet of this, and this is what I'm going to explain. It's the most popular right now, but what we're going to see, I believe, in the future is blockchain used, and I mean, we can't even imagine the amount of ways. Governments are already starting to use it because it's a digital ledger that is decentralized, that nobody can delete, so everything that is put on there is permanently there, whether that means transactions of currency or social media. So this is where I want you guys to pay attention here, because I believe there's a huge problem, and as a journalist, I'll say we've sort of got ourselves in trouble by building up these Facebook pages, turning them into websites, and creating a revenue system that is dependent on social media, and specifically Facebook. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, because us in journalism, specifically social media journalism, we pay attention to the algorithm, and Facebook is constantly changing it to try to limit independent media's reach. And several of the websites that I've been associated with have been falsely labeled fake news in the past year, and so now our links are getting labeled spam, and like they're going, you know, they're not showing up in people's news feeds. We have pages with 4 million followers, 9 million followers, and we're getting 10 likes or 10 interactions, when a year ago, 2 years ago, I mean, we were able to reach millions of people, and we still are to some degree. We're just having to find new tricks and new methods to work with this, but ultimately it's a dying system. They want us to pay for reach, they want us to pay for your eyes and ears, and we can't do that. You know, I have journalist friends who are like, man, I might have to go back to a day job now after doing this for 7 or 8 years, because if they can effectively limit your access to our websites via social media, that means there's no ads, or there's no eyes on the ads on the website. And the ads, none of us like them. They're ugly, you know, they're Google ads, they're not related to the things we want to promote, but that's how we've been paying ourselves. And there's another problem, dependent on social media, dependent on this old archaic ad-based revenue system. And I think that's what's going out now. So there are now blockchain-based, decentralized, reward-based alternatives. One of them is called Steemit. This is where it starts. This is where your journey starts. Steemit, STEEMIT.com. Who's heard of Steemit? Anybody here? I know there's some people on it. Thank you. Yes, we need to grow the Steemit community. It takes about a week or so to get yourself approved, so go sign up as soon as you got internet access. What it is, you can imagine it as Facebook or Medium, you know, one of these sites where you can blog, right? In the beginning, it was mainly the crypto crowd, you know, really small niche audience. I joined about a year ago. I recognized it as a powerful tool, but I didn't really have the time for it. I've recently got active again here in November. Since November 15th till this past week, I've cashed out about $3,500 in real money. You know, the funny thing is, somebody said it earlier, people, they'll be skeptical of crypto because they don't know how it works, but you use dollars every single day, and I guarantee you can't explain to me how that works. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. Ignorance is never a good thing, but maybe if you recognize, wow, I'm using this piece of paper only because they're telling me this is what I need to use. And the only reason we really use it, because value is truly subjective, these are just pieces of paper, the only reason we accept it is because we know when we go walk over to the next grocery store or wherever, somebody else is going to accept it. It's an IOU for your time, your labor, your energy, right? Well, what happens when we create something new that can also be traded as a currency, but isn't built on that same system that is running the game? You know, as I said, they use our involvement in the economic system to continue funding the war machine. And man, I'm so exhausted with seeing that there's a lack of anti-war movement in the United States and across the world. Does anybody here else not like the fact that the United States is in, you know, bombing 7 countries right now and has bases in 140 countries around the world? Does that bother anybody? Because it seems to be very low on the priority list that I've seen. And I don't know why, but they've done a good job of killing the anti-war movement. But that is funded through the economic system. So we could effectively kill that and take away their source of power and income by, one, stop believing in their authority and stop using their money seeking alternatives. So Steam it, you go ahead, you sign up, you create an account, you'll get approved. What people traditionally do is your first post is your introduce yourself post, right? So you create a username, take a picture of yourself with your username, the date, and nice big smile, post that on there. A little bit about yourself, what people can expect from you. You've got travel blogs on there, you've got cooking, you've got yoga, I do my journalism articles as well as just random blogs and interviews that I do from different events. It's all there. And it works in sort of like Reddit, right? You can upvote content, you can flag it down, so the content that gets upvoted will be appearing on the top page. But the difference is you actually get paid for the upvotes, right? So instead of just getting a nice dopamine rush, oh, I got 5 likes and hearts and that feels good. Facebook's getting paid for all of my content. I've been creating content for 8 years. I never got a dime from Facebook. In fact, I paid them to try to get more reach, you know? Now I'm on Steam It for 3 months and I'm getting paid for content that I did 5 years ago and never got paid for, or maybe got paid very little. And the idea is that we can take this, what we have in the real world, right? Right now we have an interaction. We are all free people choosing to be here. I'm not forcing you guys to be here. For some reason, something I'm saying you find valuable, so you're paying attention, we're looking at each other. Same thing on Steam It, right? If you find something valuable that somebody's written or posted, you give them a little upvote, right? And they get rewarded with a couple of pennies in there. I don't have time to go into the full Steam It system, but basically it's a reputation-based system. There's also Steam Power as an aspect of it, so when you are being a good user, the algorithm discourages spamming, basically. You know, so if you try to game the system, your value is going to go down. But people who've been involved for quite a while and who've developed a good reputation, their upvote might be worth $20 or $200. You know, every now and then there's this guy who just comes around and shows me some love and boosts my account up. And the internal currency of Steam is called Steam Dollars. And you know, if anybody's interested in this, please come talk to me afterwards. So it's just a beautiful system, decentralized, reward-based. You're getting paid for your content. Facebook's not getting paid for that, because I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but every time you make a post on Facebook and your friends come and see it and like it, and those ads are being shown up on the side, they're getting revenue through this. They're getting revenue for us just using their system. And it's been a great tool that has allowed us to connect and meet all kinds of great people. I was able to plan the tour I mentioned, 48 cities, 9 weeks across the United States, using Facebook. But that's also problematic. Like, if that tool's gone, then what do I do, right? I don't want to be in that situation. And I've made the promise to my supporters and followers that by the end of this year, I will no longer be using YouTube or Facebook. I'm going all in. I'm pulling as many people with me as I can. And I think this is one of the solutions. Now, on top of that Steam It blockchain, other people have come along and added other beautiful apps, sometimes known as DApps, you know, decentralized apps. And I'm going to name these as well. So you have YouTube, right? If you've ever had a YouTube channel, and especially if you talk about controversial things, political things, more recently they've started to not only censor videos or flag it for different things, copyright violations that are just complete BS, but they'll also demonetize videos. So I have friends who built up their, you know, able to do journalism, do real hard work based on what they get from YouTube. Now they log in and they find all their videos have been demonetized. You know, their income has been taken away from them. It's because YouTube, Google, Facebook, these corporations, they work closely with the governments around the world. They're more than happy to share your information if the government comes in knocking and asking for your stuff. And they have an interest in keeping people in this platform and paying for it. That's the long-term goal. They want us to pay for these tools. They've got us all ingrained in it now. Now it's time to start paying if you want eyes on your stuff. Otherwise, we're just gonna get sucked into little bubbles. So on top of the Steemit blockchain, you have is what is known as DTube. DTube, decentralized tube. Same thing as YouTube, but again, reward-based. You can get paid for your videos, for your content. And it's on the blockchain, so it can't be deleted. So on Steemit, every comment you ever make, you can go to everybody's page and click on comments, replies, and see everything they've ever said. You can't delete. Once it's posted, it's not going anywhere. Anybody can see it, it's there. There's no CEO, Mark Zuckerberg of Steemit. There's no one to take it down. It's completely decentralized. So DTube, that's an alternative to YouTube. What other platforms do we got? Live streaming is a big thing, right? Facebook Live, live stream, again, the same problems. You have DLive. Look up DLive, decentralized live streaming. And again, many of these are in their first year, so they're very early stage. They're getting better, just keep up with them. But they're now, DLive recently went mobile, so they're getting apps developed for these. So DTube, DLive, and one that I'm super excited about because I know there's a lot of musicians and content creators. Maybe you're not a writer, but you like to make music or you do podcasts or whatever. dsound.audio, dsound.audio, just like SoundCloud, except for same thing. When people listen to your music, the more plays you get, the more likes and upvotes you get, you're getting paid for that. You don't need a record label, you don't need a manager. Start putting your content out there, getting paid for it, and you can keep that in Steam dollars, or you can cash out and get Bitcoin or other currencies, and then if you want, you can go back to the stinky dollars or colones if you really need it, because sometimes, you know, I'm working on getting my landlord to start accepting crypto so I don't have to cash out a little bit every month. That'll be the next step, right? But that's also goes into the whole thing is as we spread and grow this ecosystem, then everybody here will just be accepting it. Though you go up to their booths and they're like, yeah, I'll take dollars if you want, but you know, I also got all these other 10 cryptos I accept. We'll have all options. So DTube, DLive, DSound, and this one I just found out in the last week that I think man, they're doing so good, these developers. It's called Steep Shot, Steep, S-T-E-E-P, shot.io. This is the decentralized reward-based alternative to Instagram, and it's mobile and desktop. So you can, same thing, pictures, but all you need to do is start a Steemit account. So you start the Steemit account, once you get approved, you can go to these alternative websites, DLive, DSound, Steep Shot, and you just go up there and you have what's called a posting key on your back end of your settings of Steemit, and you just post your Steemit account, and basically it interconnects all those accounts. So you have a Steemit account, you just got to go to DLive and activate your DLive account. Go to Steep Shot and activate your Steep Shot account, and on and on and on. So they're all built on the same blockchain. It cannot be censored. It's decentralized. You can get rewards through that, and you can keep the money in the ecosystem, or you can cash out. And there's, again, more specifics on it. When you post, the first 7 days is when the rewards happen. After 7 days, that's when the rewards stop for each post. If, say, like right now, my account is worth, it's an estimated like $6,000, right? There's some people who have accounts that are hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So what happens if everybody's like, I want that money now, right? So they start cashing out. The whole system could crash, right? So it's set up that if you choose to liquidate your account, like if I want all that $6,000 right now, which is what it's worth right now. Like a Steam dollar is worth about $4 US. So that's what makes my account worth about $6,000. But if I wanted to liquidate, they would give me 13 installments over, 13, I don't know if it's 13 months or 13 weeks. Does anybody else know that? But I know it's 13 installments once you liquidate. So that means, say it again? 13 weeks, yeah. Oh, what's up, brother? How you doing? So you get cashed out over 13 weeks. As I said, that prevents everybody from just like, oh, I want all my money now, and like crash the system. So there's a lot more on the technical end. I'm not the tech savvy guy. I go to a lot of the crypto conferences and I learn from people much smarter than me. I'm the guy that's out there living it and showing that these are practical tools. As I said, I did the 48 city tour. It was sponsored by Bitcoin.com, which is a company that I've worked with because they know my message, and they just said, we want to endorse it. So they gave me $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. That's $10,000 that I didn't report to the IRS, that didn't go fund the surveillance state or the wars or anything else that I don't want to fund. That $10,000 went to helping me and my crew travel the country, spreading this message of decentralization, setting people up with crypto wallets, sending them crypto, teaching them about growing their own food, and volunteering in each community you went to, hosting meditations. And I'm going to be doing it for anybody in the US or Canada. I am going to be doing another tour later this year, probably being sponsored by other cryptos like Smart Cash or Dash. These are other alternatives that I think are even more decentralized and provide a better product than Bitcoin currently is. So How am I doing on time? I have till 3:30. Anybody know the time? 5 till? Cool. I think I've rambled enough. Anybody have any questions? Take you right here. What's up, brother?
So Spotify is kind of a hybrid, right? Because you, as an artist, you can upload music and you get reimbursed for every song. It's actually, isn't it any way, shape, or form built on blockchain, or is it?
No, Spotify is not, as far as I know, built on the blockchain at all. But I think that's what the whole goal of dSound was, to try to compete with SoundCloud, Spotify, and these sort of things, where because they don't take anything. They're not taking a cut of this at all. There's no company that when you cash out, they're taking their piece from it, you know? So I don't know how Spotify works exactly, but I imagine they're probably taking a piece of it. Yeah, and it's fiat currency as well. It's not crypto, right? So it's keeping you within that same system.
But it's like an effort for that.
There's a lot of tools that are stepping in that direction, right? I mean, we're not going to get there the first step, right? And that's why even Bitcoin and some of these tools are not perfect. But they're in that direction, and I am trying to just help as many people join the exodus away from these centralized social media platforms, because they're putting us in bubbles, they're keeping us from accessing information, they're limiting the reach of people like myself who are trying to create content and spread awareness about important topics. And whatever you do, if you're an artist, put pictures of your art up on Steepshot. If you've got things to write, I mean, I think that we all have skills, that we all have different things to offer, whether those are, my art is my word and writing, but you know, I have friends who do yoga lessons and they post that on DTube. You know, they post, I mean, anything you want really. Whatever it is that your passion is, find a way to put it out there. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about the fact that you're monetizing it. I know some people are uncomfortable, like, oh, I just want it to be my art. I don't want to think about like making money, right? But what I've found is that by focusing on my art and welcoming the abundance, I can do more of my art. I can speak to more people. I can afford to dedicate my life to this instead of being the broke, poor activist who's barely making it. That I got a lot of support, but I can't eat support, so I have to eat too. Until we get to that world where, you know, we're past that, then that's the world we're dealing in. And I think crypto is a path towards that. I think I got time for one more question. Anybody? What's up, brother? So do these platforms represent the end of copyright enforcement? I think that's going to be an interesting thing, because technically these systems that are operating on like an honor system, right? No, there's nothing stopping any of us from going to, say, dSound and uploading a bunch of Michael Jackson music and then getting rewarded for clicks and cashing out, right? But I think that eventually somebody will probably test that. How is the mainstream system, the legal, like what's a record label going to do once they realize there's some blockchain that we can't just sue or delete and make it go away and people are making money? I don't know. I do think that we could see some interesting times as far as copyrights. I've written books, I've created things, but I don't think I own them. I put them out there, and if you want to take them, steal them, change them, adapt them, share them, that's fine with me. You know, if you could do it better than me, then go for it. And I think that's all the time I got, but I always end with a positive affirmation, and I'd like to do that. If you guys can hear me, take a deep breath with me. And if you feel inclined, please repeat after me. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I am free. Thank you guys so much. I'll be talking tomorrow at 10:15 for about an hour at the Village Witches stage. I'm going to be going much more in depth into what I call holistic activism and anarchism and freedom cells. If you're interested in that, come talk to me or see me in the morning. Thank you guys. Derrick Broze. Broze.